Hi everybody, so today I'm going to do a little bit of a different video. There is a noise behind me, just ignore it. It's the bathroom door shaking from how windy it is outside. So today I thought I would talk about an issue that a lot of people have, especially myself. I do have anxiety, and I know a lot of people who also have it. I know it's really hard to deal with anxiety, so I thought I would make a video just sharing my, anxiety story. Even if it just helps one person who watches this, then I'm happy. Even if it doesn't help anyone, it's good to be informed about it. I always kind of was an anxious kid, just with the smallest things that kids my age usually wouldn't be nervous about. This started at like a really young age for me. I would get very nervous and anxious to stay at a friend's house and have a sleepover. I can't even count how many times I had to go home in the middle of the night from a friend's house because I was too afraid to stay there. There's no reason to be afraid. I just was. And it kind of sucked because I would be leaving even a house I've been to a million times. Going to my best friend's house to stay the night, I couldn't do it because I felt like something bad was gonna happen. I always thought of the worst case scenario, even as a kid. I would have to go home at like 2 in the morning and my parents would have to come get me. And it was kind of like a struggle for all of us, I guess, because my friend would be disappointed I couldn't stay, and they didn't really get it back then of why I was getting so upset. I just thought that this was like a normal stage that kids went through, and it could be. A lot of kids go through this, but mine lasted a long time. So this was all kind of happening around when I was 9 and getting old enough to stay home alone. Usually kids are really excited when they get to finally stay home alone, no parents, nobody in the house, even if it's for like a little bit of time. I was terrified and I would not let it happen. If my parents were saying, okay, you can stay home by yourself while I go to the grocery store for like half an hour. I'll be back in like half an hour, you can stay here. I'll say, no, I'm coming with you because I don't want to stay home. I don't want to be alone. What if something happens? I would always think something tragic was going to happen to people that I love, and I never really thought of, they'll be fine. It's just a half an hour. I never could get myself to think like that. So even going to the grocery store and they said they will be back in 30 minutes, if it was over 30 minutes, I would start getting really nervous that something happened. They're not back yet. Something bad happened. I need to call them right now, make sure everything's okay. For a while, it was I couldn't stay at people's houses and I couldn't stay home alone. I would start crying and getting panic attacks during those times. And I don't think people really knew how much of a panic attack I went through every time that happened. I would have legit panic attacks as a little kid. I don't think anyone, even myself, really thought of, oh, this could be anxiety that could carry on later on. We just thought it was like a phase and I was gonna get over it at some point. Once I hit about junior high, early high school, I started to realize that this could possibly be an issue. I noticed this because I wasn't really scared of these things I had in the past, like staying at someone's house or staying home alone. I was getting over that. But now it was more of just panic attacks for no reason. Or it was like the smallest reason that nobody would really get nervous about, but it happened to me and I would go on to full-blown panic. So I kind of started thinking, well, maybe this is a problem. Like, I know people who have anxiety and they go through this, so maybe I have it. And for a long time, for that whole time, I kept it to myself. because I didn't really want to tell anybody that I had this problem, because I thought that they would look at me different, or they would think that I'm just doing it to get attention, or that they might think that I'm just faking it and making up an excuse to get like sympathy from people. I've heard all of these comments, by the way, in my life. I have been told this personally by people, that I have been faking it and I'm doing it for attention, or they had told somebody else that I know these things, and it's just not right. In that early high school stage, I started to think, this is like getting worse, maybe I should talk to someone about it, but I don't want other people to worry about me. I've always been the kind of person who worries about all of my loved ones, because I don't like seeing other people in pain, worrying, anything like that. I didn't want to put any pressure on my friends, and especially my family, my parents. I didn't want them to worry about having to see me go through these panic attacks and anxiety like this. I tell everyone I can to get help right away, because I waited until about junior or senior year to finally talk to my parents about it and get some help. I don't suffer too horribly with it, but I do have panic attacks that are very bad and sometimes pretty severe, I would say. I know that there are people who have anxiety that are much more severe than my case. Senior year especially, I can remember I had panic attacks in school. I've had a few in my orchestra class where I had to go and sit in a practice room and just calm down, and my friends, they had to come in and help me calm down. And my teacher one time came in and helped me and was like, "What's wrong? Do you need to go to the counselor?" And I had to go to the counselor that day and get help. I went to my parents and told them what happened at school, and now that I'm having these attacks at school, not very often, but it was once in a long time. It was maybe a couple or few times a year that I would have them at school, and they weren't like full-blown. I knew that I was having one, but I had to try to keep it in because I didn't want to make a scene at school, since I was a very shy student, and nobody would really want to have an attack at school. You wouldn't want to have that attention on you. Once it was towards the end of my senior year, we finally figure out what we can do to fix this and see if there's something that can help. We went to the doctor and we said, what is there that we can do to help kind of reduce these attacks? They said, well, there's medication or there's therapy, basically the two that people usually go to. I didn't really feel like it was that severe that I really needed to go to therapy. I just needed something to kind of reduce when I have the attacks, I guess. Once I got to college, I was having more and more panic attacks, and they were getting worse and worse throughout time. So my first year of college was kind of hard, and it was pretty much on like a nightly basis. I would call my parents late at night in tears. Now it's my second year and I'm used to it. I don't really have that many homesickness panic attacks. I have more of, what do I do? Am I doing this right? Kind of thing. Anxiety is when there's an imbalance in the neurotransmitters in your brain, and that causes you to have panic attacks. Now that I've kind of explained my anxiety story to you, I want to talk a little bit about what happens when I'm having a panic attack. My panic attacks can either be nothing really at all or so severe. I can't really breathe, I hyperventilate, my heart is beating very fast. It's usually what happens when somebody is having a panic attack. Most of the time, those are some of the symptoms. I also, since my breathing is off, my head gets lightheaded and my hands and feet get numb. I'll get hot flashes. From hyperventilating, there are times where I will shake and my body will tremble. It can be really scary for the person going through it especially. It's scary to have these things going on all at once and not knowing how to stop it, especially when you're very new to having anxiety and having these panic attacks. And it is very scary for the person that is with you, if there is somebody with you, because seeing a friend or family member in that state is really scary and you really want to help, but sometimes people won't know what to do to help someone with anxiety. My advice for people who deal with anxiety and have to deal with panic attacks, think in your mind, this can't last that long. I've heard different things. I've heard that it lasts only up to about 25 minutes, but I've also heard that it can last 2 hours. But most of the time panic attacks are usually between 5 and like 15-20ish minutes. Just remember that it will be okay afterwards. You will be fine. For the people who don't really know what to do in the case of somebody else having a panic attack around you, do what they want you to do. Even if it's just sit there and be quiet, I just need somebody near me, then that's what you do. If they want you to go get a glass of water, then do that for them. Just do whatever it takes to help that person out and calm them down. Their mind isn't working right and they need you to be there to reassure them that everything's okay. If you know someone that you care about a lot that has anxiety, then research a little bit about it. It will help you understand more of what that person's going through, so it would be even better when you help that person. So that being said, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment below any videos that you would like to see in the future, maybe something anxiety based or something else that you might want advice on. Also, if you would like updates anytime I upload a new video, you can subscribe down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!